All right, guys, today we're going to work on some slope review. So we're going to practice making equations and finding slope. So let's start with find the equation from 2 points. That's what we're going to start with here. So I'm going to start with the first one here. Remember the formula for this is m equals the change in y over the change in x. In other words, we know that as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or rise over run. I'm going to go ahead and label my points x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'm going to plug in. Okay, -4 is my y2 minus -10, which is my y1. Then I have -3, which is my x2, minus -5, which is my x1. All right, so let's use keep, change here. -4 plus 10 is going to be 6. And then again, keep, change, or two negatives make a positive. -3 plus 5 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now I'm going to take my slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to plug in 3 for m. And I'm going to plug in one of these points to find my b. I'm going to pick this point right here, okay? So that means I'm plugging in -4 equals 3 times -3 plus b. Okay, 3 times -3 is -9 plus b is -4. Center of my equation is my equal sign. I'm going to add 9 to get b by itself. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. -4 plus 9 is 5. So b is equal to 5. So if I plug that into my equation, the equation for this line from those 2 points is y equals 3x plus 5. All right, so let's go over to my next 2 points. I'm going to have you try this one on your own. So pause now. All right, if you unpaused and are with me now, you should be ready to try this one. You've already got it done. You're just checking your answer. Remember the formula for our slope is m equals the change in y over the change in x. In other words, rise over run. And we know that means y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So this is our x1, this is our y1, this is our x2, this is our y2. All right, so let's plug that in. That's going to be 8 minus -16 all over 2 minus -3. All right, remember when I have 2 negatives, that makes a positive, or I could keep, change it. 8 plus 16 is 24. And then again, 2 negatives makes positive. 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. So I have 24/5. So now I'm going to plug that into my equation, y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to get y equals 24 over 5x plus b. Now I'm going to plug in any of the 2 points I can pick. I'm going to do 2 and 8 just because I don't like negative numbers a whole lot. So I'm going to plug in 8 equals 24 over 5 times 2, and to be able to multiply those together, I'm going to have to put 2 over 1, so I'm just going to do that now, plus b. There is nothing that can reduce this, so I'm going to bring this down and just multiply across. 24 times 2 is 48. 5 times 1 is 5 plus b. I'm going to simplify this into a mixed number, so I'm going to do 48 divided by 5. Okay, 5 goes into 48 9 times minus 45 with 3 left over. So that means that this is the same thing as saying a equals 9 3/5 plus b. Center of my equation is the equal sign. I'm going to subtract 9 3/5 from both sides. If I have $8, but I owe you 9 3/5 of a dollar, then I'm still going to owe you $1 3/5 of a dollar left. So my b is -1 3/5. Which makes my equation y equals 24 over 5x plus -1 3/5, which I can rewrite as y equals 24 over 5x minus 1 3/5. Yes, that one was kind of a nasty problem, but I did that for you for a reason. Not all problems are going to come out as neatly as y equals 3x plus 5. A lot of lines are going to look kind of not fun like this one here. All right, if you need time to write down this work, press pause now. Otherwise, you're with me, and I'm going to move forward to the next slide. All right, so now we're going to practice from graphs. So remember, from graphs, we have to count our rise over run, which is m equals change in y over change in x. And we have to find where it crosses the y-axis to find our y-intercept. So let's start where solid points are. We have a solid point here, and we have a solid point here. So I'm going to count my rise over run. I'm going to tell you right now, since I'm going down, my slope is going to be negative. So I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's negative 4 over 1. So negative 4 over 1 is my slope, or negative 4. So now I'm looking at my y-intercept. So here's where my x-axis meets. This is my y-axis. So it's 1, 2, 3 where it crosses. So my b is 3. That makes this equation y equals negative 4x plus 3. All right, I want you to try the next one on your own. Go ahead and pause this and then come back when you're ready to check. All right, pause now. All right, if you're back with me, that means you've already found the equation for this one and you're ready to check your answer. So again, I need to find my rise over run for my slope, and I'm going to do that by counting from 2 points. I can see that there's a point here and a point here. So I'm going to go ahead and just count these here. So that's up 1 over 1. That makes my slope 1. And then my y-intercept is right here at negative 4. So my equation is going to be y equals 1 times x is just x minus 4. All right, so if you need a few moments to write this down, go ahead and do pause. Otherwise, I'm going to clear my screen and move us to the next slide.
Really? I just turned it off and she yelled at me.
All right, guys, so now we're going to practice from tables. Remember, tables function just like points. You're just going to label x1, y1. Oops, y1's over here. And this is x2 over here, y2. So now we have to start by finding our slope. Then we're going to find our y-intercept. So remember, slope is m equals the change in y over the change in x, or rise over run. And we know that to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and plug those in. So I'm going to do 70 minus 80 over 5 minus 0. Okay, 70 minus 80 is negative 10, because if I have $70 but I owe you 80, I'm still owing you $10. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 goes into negative 10 2 times, so my slope for this one is going to be negative 2. So now I need to find my y-intercept. Okay, so I can do it by plugging it in. Y equals m x plus b. I'm going to plug in my negative 2, so y equals negative 2x plus b. I'm going to go ahead and plug these 2 points in, 0 and 80. So that gives me 80 equals negative 2 times 0 plus b. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, so that's 80 equals 0 plus b. 0 plus b is b, so I have 80 equals b. So that means that my y-intercept is b. And once again, I could have found this without calculating, because I know the y-intercept is when it crosses the y-axis. And at the y-axis, x is 0. And since x is 0 is in my chart, I could have just said it was 80 for my y-intercept. So I'm going to plug my slope, my y-intercept in to get my equation y equals negative 2x plus 80. All right, go ahead and try the next one on your own. I want you to pause now and solve it. All right, if you're with us now, you should have already solved this one and you're ready to check your answers. So m equals the change in y over the change in x, because I have to find my slope first. Remember, this means rise over run. which equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I'm going to label my points. This is x1, this is x2, this is y1, this is y2. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. Okay, so then I'm going to give you -3 minus -11 all over -2 minus -4. Remember to use keep, change, change. So keep, change, change, or two negatives makes a positive. So -3 plus 11 is what we have here now. So if I owe you $3, but I have 11 in my pocket, I'm going to have 8 at the end of the day. And then moving on to here, if I owe you $2, but I have 4 in my pockets, I'm going to have 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, so now I know what my slope is. Now I can find my y-intercept. Remember, because the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, which means x is 0, I could just look here and say it's 5. I also could plug it in, though, to solve it. So I could do y equals mx plus b and plug in 4. So y equals 4x plus b. Then I pick any 2 points, so I'm going to do 0 and 5. So I'm going to do 5 equals 4 times 0 plus b. 4 times 0 is 0 plus b. It's 5. 0 plus b is b, so b equals 5. Okay, so either way, I could have looked and said since x is 0, it's going to be 5, or I could have solved it algebraically. Now I'm going to plug it into the equation. I'm going to get y equals 4x plus 5. All right. If you need to pause this, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, move on to the next slide with me. All right, here is the final problem. We're going to practice creating a graph from a word problem. So it says Bose charges $15 for 4 hours of play. Please make a table to represent the situation. Show the rate of change. Okay, so 15 hours for 4. So that's basically giving us 1 point. So we're going to do 15 divided by 4 to find out how much it costs for 1 hour. Okay, 15 divided by 4, well, we can't really simplify that. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to find out how many times 4 goes in there. That's 3. And that's 12. So 3 and 3/4, which in money terms is $3.75. So 1 hour is $3.75. There is no mentioning of an initial charge in here. So that means this is our slope and our initial charge is 0, which is our y-intercept. So our equation would be y equals 3.75x. You also could have written y equals 15 over 4x if that's what you wanted to do. Either one would have been acceptable. Now I need to graph it. So I'm going to create a table. Okay, so there's my x, there's my y. My x is going to be hours, my y is going to be my cost. I already know for 4 hours, it's going to cost me $15. Since my labeling down here is by 4, 8, 12, that's what I'm going to do for my x's. I'm going to do 4, 8, 12, and 16. Okay, well, if 4 hours is $15, then what does that mean 8's going to be? Well, we could plug it into our equation and do y equals 15 over 4 times 8. Okay, in order to do that, I've got to put 8 over 1. I'm going to cross reduce. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 15 times 2 is 30. Okay, now I'm going to do 12, and I'm going to do y equals 15 over 4 times 12. And again, I've got to put it over 1, and then cross reduce. 4 goes into 12. 3 times 15 times 3 is 45. And then for my last one, it's going to be 16. So y equals 15 over 4 times 60. Oops, not 60, 16. Then put that over 1. Cross reduce. 1 goes in. 4 goes into it 4 times. 15 times 4 is going to be 60. Okay, now I have my points and I can draw my graphs. So I've got 4 and 15 right here. 8 and 30 right here. 12 and 45, and 16 and 60. So then I can draw my line, and there's my graph. All right, guys, if you need to pause, please do so you can get this written. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and clear this page. Please go ahead and work on your dilation, similarity, and slope focus area at this time. Have a good day, guys.